Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and solve this problem here. It's really not that complicated because just because infinity is such a large number, what we can do here is actually kind of get rid of the parts that aren't the largest x value, and kind of the reasoning um, behind that. I'll explain here, which is this right here, just because of how large infinity is just the exact same thing as this, because infinity is just such kind of a large number that we get this as what to do next. So once we get to this part here, again, it is somewhat simple as we're here. A little bit complicated part is that the 25x squared, because of how this works, if we already know that root 25 is 5, so we can write that part down. Then the little bit different part is going to be that this x squared is equal to absolute value of x. And I forgot to write the limit part here. That is important. And the limit part here as well. Okay, and once you get this part, same thing with the bottom part here, which is we can just make that x. So now we've kind of gotten to this point. And again, the reason this absolute value is here is because x squared, the root of x squared, meaning if we know x squared would be positive, this absolute value part here makes sure that whatever's in here would be positive, which will come into play later throughout this problem. So as you can see, just a real quick recap, got from here to here, there to here. Now, as we continue on with this problem, one of the cool things we can do, this 5 right here is almost like a 5 over 1. It's almost like there's this 5 over 1, and there's this separate absolute value of x over x. The reason I bring that into play is this 5 we can move out front. And this happens for any limit. It doesn't just have to be an infinity or negative infinity problem. So then that means we make it 5 limit x is going to negative infinity, and that, just to make our life a little bit simpler, having that 5 out front definitely makes our life a little bit simpler. So now that we've gotten to this point here, x absolute value over x. So if we think this through just kind of in a simple way, not fully in depth, which is if you were to plug in just a simple -1 over 1, or sorry, over -1, because let's imagine this negative infinity is -1. This would actually mean that the answer would be -1. We understand that. We also understand that if the problem was simply no absolute value and it's just -1, the answer would be 1. So that's why this absolute value is pretty important here, which is negative infinity. If you were to hypothetically plug that in over a negative infinity, would still equal to negative infinity. But for the sake of this problem, we're just going to say that therefore, as a quick little shortcut, is just equal to -1. That is just equal to -1. And then, because this whole thing right here becomes just this whole thing right here, what do we do about this little guy over here? Well, the answer is that we just put this little guy next to here. So that's how we got from this part over here over to this part. And then it's pretty simple. Just multiply. And then that's how you get -5. Should have rewritten the limit. Probably the final answer would be limit as x is going to negative infinity would be -5. That's going to be your final answer.